even though the gift-giving holiday has passed, it is still the season for sharing. What you give doesn't have to be large or expensive. A smile, a compliment, or helping hand can go a long way in improving someone's day or life. As usual, inside Jamaica Magazine, we have something special for you. Information that can help you to become a better version of yourself. Coming up in today's show, we'll look at the processes and procedures for getting a driver's license and share the story of a 5-year-old with a passion for farming. I'm Adrian Atkinson. All that and more after this message.
Concerned about uncollected garbage at home? Do you see garbage piling up on the streets? Then report it. Use the National Solid Waste Management Authority's mobile app to report instances of littering, illegal dumping, and uncollected garbage. From anywhere and at any time, be an environment warden by informing the authority of unsightly solid waste. You will be notified when your report has been received by the NSWMA, as well as when the matter is resolved. Download the app from the iOS or Android app stores by typing in NSWMA. Play your part, as Jamaica's beauty is everybody's duty. Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, December 28. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is now preparing for a fourth wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is expected to be largely driven by the spread of the Omicron variant. Speaking at the COVID Conversations press briefing last week, Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said it's projected that up to 2,000 persons could be hospitalized as a result of the spread of the variant in Jamaica.
Up to this point, we have one additional field hospital, Savlamar, to finish hopefully by the end of the year. We will have approximately 1,200 beds to support inpatient care for COVID cases. We do have step-down facilities, so where you don't need hospitalization, you stay in other facilities, including being at home with support. But where hospitalization is needed, we have up to 1,200 beds, and I think it's important to make that clear.
During the third wave, more than 1,300 additional temporary staff were contracted to support operations in health facilities, including hospitals, as well as the vaccination program.
We are preserving the temporary staff, over 1,300 staff members or employees who have been helping in the field. We have extended their employment to the end of the first quarter of next year. And that is, of course, to ensure that we have the personnel, because one of the bottlenecks would be personnel availability.
He further informed that the ministry is reviewing its personal protective equipment PPE requirements so that the necessary items can be purchased and restocked. Meanwhile, with the expected rise in new COVID-19 cases, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is urging persons to get vaccinated, especially the vulnerable group of persons 60 years and over. He says this group is nearing the 50% fully vaccinated rate, which is still low due to the associated risk of the Omicron variant of the virus to this segment of the population.
It means that if the virus spreads in that population, as we expect it to, even in cases where it may be mild, the more people who get the virus, the more we expect that some will become ill and sufficiently ill to go to the hospital.
Minister Tufton says 1,194,000 doses of vaccines have been administered, with 557,000 persons being fully vaccinated. This represents 20.4% of the population. In addition, 259 persons have received at least one dose and 2,631 persons getting their booster shot. Another 613 extended primary series or third dose have been administered. To increase the vaccine take-up, the ministry will be rolling out 4 additional mobile COVID-19 vaccination buses across the island. Dr. Tufton warns that persons should not become complacent with the highly transmissible Omicron variant in terms of the perceived mildness of the effects.
Yes, there are experts who have said that the likelihood of hospitalization is less. And I know there is some comfort in that, but complacency could be a false sense of security.
The latest figures from the Ministry of Health show that the island recorded 84 new COVID-19 cases on December 26, bringing the total number of confirmed positives to 92,789. There have also been 150 additional recoveries, with the total number of recoveries for the island now at 65,182. Jamaica is currently managing 688 active cases, including 30 moderately ill patients and 3 critically ill patients, with a positivity rate of 25.2%. As the festive season continues leading into the new year, heads of government are calling for a collective approach by citizens to the nation's fight against COVID-19, crime and reckless driving. The plea was made during their address to the nation on Christmas Day.
I encourage everyone to continue observing the established health protocols as you bring cheer to those who are struggling with grief, sickness, and hunger. I still believe in the goodness of Jamaicans, and I encourage everyone to continue believing in yourselves and your country.
As we move into the endemic phase of the pandemic, meaning as we learn to live with the virus, its variants, and the disease itself, the government must rely less on general shielding measures such as curfews and work from home, and more on educating the population to adopt socially responsible and proactive health-seeking behaviors to protect themselves individually and collectively.
Let us also be responsible and take the precautions that are now a standard part of our daily way of life as good citizens of our beloved country. Please continue to do what we can to minimize the risks of exposing ourselves and others to the perils of our time, the COVID-19 virus, the dangerous driving on our roads, and the security risks that are sadly a feature of life in our country.
The Transport Ministry is reporting that as at December 24, 460 persons have died on the nation's roads for 2021, which is up by more than 9% when compared with the same period last year. Of that figure, for this month alone, the nation has experienced 29 fatal crashes with 30 fatalities, with the highest recorded numbers being among motorcyclists and private motor vehicle drivers. Transport Minister Robert Montague, while speaking recently at a test driving simulator handover at the St. Mary High School, said government is continuing to implement measures to curtail the increasing number of road fatalities over the years.
A lot more attention needs to be placed on those who operate private motor vehicles and bikes. A lot of our bikers don't wear helmets. We have a serious problem with road safety in Jamaica. Very serious problem. The ministry is going to be placing additional attention on those persons who are operating motorbikes and private motor cars.
Men continue to account for the highest number of road fatalities, with 407 having lost their lives since the start of the year and 53 females. And finally, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is reminding the public that pyrotechnics, also known as fireworks and firecrackers, are illegal in Jamaica. Head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB, Assistant Commissioner of Police ACP Gary Mackenzie, says firecrackers, more commonly called clappers, though sold during the Christmas period, are illegal.
The possession is illegal, the sale of it is illegal, and the use of it is illegal. Right? So no one is to be in possession of clappers or any other device that will cause fireworks or will cause explosions. You know, what we don't realize is that, especially within communities, we have babies, we have elderly persons, and sometimes these things go off, you know, at infirmaries, at hospitals.
ACP Mackenzie was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. No permits are being issued for the use of pyrotechnics or fireworks for this holiday season. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
it's absolutely critical that we receive the vaccines. You will see hospitalizations and indeed deaths likely come down. And so there is a lot of value to be gained by getting as many vulnerables on board as possible. So tell your mothers, tell your aunts, listen out for yourselves if you're over 60, and take the vax, because the vax is what will help you to guard against the COVID virus and indeed help your relatives, your friends, those who you come in contact with for the same benefit.
Android, iOS, non-internet based. It doesn't matter the brand, type, model, or cost. Phones need to be periodically cleaned. There are no apps, not yet, that will de-germ the outer surface of these mobile gadgets. And unless you have an ultraviolet UV sanitizer toolkit, you'll have to manually decontaminate the device. Germs are everywhere, and so too are our phones, inside a bag or pocket, on a table or counter, the car, bed, even in our hands. Placing our phones on these surfaces puts them in constant contact with germs, even the novel coronavirus. And according to the World Health Organization, the virus has a lifespan of up to 96 hours on surfaces. That's 4 full days on plastic or metals, the type of exterior shell of many phones. Constant touching of the phone with naked fingers that we then use to touch our faces, or directly placing the phone to our faces, is a recipe for transmitting germs, bacteria, or viruses to the body.
First thing I do when I get home is I clean my phone. Because you're touching your phone and you're touching this surface that somebody else just touched, and then you put the phone to your mouth and you ha. And all of these particles that have ended up on the phone, they end up in you.
Apart from just not using a phone, our only defense is to clean them regularly. Soap and water would be best, but no, you should not submerge your phone in liquid. Instead, first wash your hands with soap and water, then dry them. Ensure that your phone is unplugged to prevent a possible electrical shock. Then, dab a clean cloth, preferably a microfiber or lens cloth, with a 70% isopropyl alcohol solution, and wipe the entire surface of your phone. Do not drench the cloth with too much solution, just sufficient to clean the device. In addition, be careful to avoid getting moisture into any openings. If you don't have an alcohol-based cleaning solution at hand, you can also use alcohol wipes. You should ensure the wipes have a relatively high concentration of alcohol. The best is 70% and above. This ensures that any viruses that are on your phone can be effectively killed. While you sanitize your phone, avoid using aerosol sprays, abrasives, and cleaners. And do not spray directly onto the phone screen or back. Bleach should also not be used to clean the phone, as it may damage the surface. It is also best to wipe any relevant accessories used with your phone. Chargers, headsets, and phone cases should be sanitized at the same time you clean your device. They should also be removed from the device when cleaning. Now your phone and its friends are clean. To prevent putting your phone against your face or the likelihood of transferring germs or viruses, use Bluetooth, a virtual assistant or hands-free speaker system if you can.
We need all Jamaicans to know that child abuse is not just an issue for the government, it's an issue for all Jamaicans. So we need everybody to help us to protect our children. If you know of a child who is being victimized, a child who is abused or neglected, just make that report so we can get that child the help they need. Calling or reporting is easy. All you have to do is remember to call 211. If you are an adult, if you're a child, if you are in church, in your community group, wherever you are, once you are aware there's a child who is in need of care and protection, just be the one and call 211.
It's the season for self-improvement, setting goals and preparing to meet them. If getting your driver's license is on your to-do list for 2022, watch this next feature to find out how that process works.
So, you've acquired your provisional or learner's driver's license, and the next step is getting the real deal. Well, the process for getting each is a bit different, but nonetheless very achievable.
Now, the fundamental difference between the provisional and the driver's license now is that with the driver's license you can drive by yourself, but with the provisional, an instructor have to be there with you, must be there with you at all times. Somebody who have a driver's license must be with you. So once you acquire the driver's license now, you can drive on your own.
But before we go in to get this piece of document, we must have an idea of the type of license that we're applying for. Here in Jamaica, there are 3 categories available: a motorcycle license, a private license for motor cars only, and a general license, which is for any vehicle including motorcycles and public passenger vehicles. Now it's time to head to an Island Traffic Authority depot. But don't leave these important documents: a completed driver's license application form, signed by a justice of the peace or a notary public, the examination fee receipt, your provisional driver's license or learner's permit, and 3 passport-size photographs, also signed by a JP or notary public.
First step we need to do is that we must be successful in the road code test, and we must acquire the provisional driver's license. Now, when you would have gone to your instructor, right? Your instructor would then decide when you are ready to go and do the test. You should prepare yourself for 3 things: the written test, the yard test, and the road test. You need to know how to navigate that motor vehicle, right, safely without hitting down anyone. So you need to be in control of the vehicle, right? Know when to brake, know when to gas, know when to turn, etc. Ensure that you know your road code, right? Know your road signs, know your road markings, know the responsibility of drivers, know the responsibility of other road users. Understand what the road marking signs mean, the white line mean, and know what they mean, and obey them. So those things are very critical, right? So once you know these things, right, then you're ready to do the written test. The written test have to deal with driving questions, driving issues.
It's mandatory for all applicants to complete this written test. Individuals are required to read a sentence, then complete the written test where the knowledge of vehicle mechanics will be tested for general license applicants.
And after you have passed the written test, then we take it to the yard test.
During the yard test, applicants' ability to start on a gradient or hill, parallel park, and reverse will be assessed.
So here, so now you learn hill start. Your instructor should teach you hill start, how to start on the hill, so you don't run back and create mayhem and crashing people behind you. So again, controlling the vehicle, very critical, right? So once you have done the hill start, you do the yard test, how you navigate navigate on the road network. Just as how you would have to navigate out there in the real world. So we put you in that control. It's a control environment, right? So we carry you through that navigatory process. Once you have exercised that safely, right, that is good. Another component of it is that we need to see a reversing skills. We want to see that reversing skill being executed, and we want it to be done safely without creating any imbalances in the traffic environment. Once you have completed the yard test, the yard operations, yes, then we can take you out to the road. Because you'd have proven to us that we must take you out to the road, right? Now once we have taken you out to the road now, we give you some instructions, and the instructions should be followed, right? And you are assessed again. Once you have passed all 3 components, then a certificate of competence will be issued with respect to you. Now that certificate of competence now would then be used as the instrument that would allow you to access the technology of a driver's license. Right? And the tax office now would be the ones that would issue you with that card, allowing you to drive for that period of time. If you have not executed the components properly, you will then be required to come back, right, to do the components that you have failed. Right? So those things would have been documented, what you pass, and whatever you fail, you will be required to come back and do it.
And there you have it, the Island Traffic Authority's simple steps to help you achieve your very own driver's license.
The whole purpose of education is preparing children for the real world. But what better place to start than to teach them to grow their food? Coming up, the benefits of getting young people involved in agriculture, plus the story of a very young farmer.
Due to the pandemic, children are more engaged in online schooling at home, and you are probably wondering what else you can do to keep them engaged. Have you considered agriculture? It is a good way to get them outside and active, teaching them responsibility, the value of hard work, making money, and even entrepreneurship. Nicoy Kernaldi is proof that the strategy actually does work. He took his lessons and became not only a successful farmer, but an agricultural educator.
I have been involved in agriculture for many years now, as far as I can remember, because my parents are both farmers, and growing up in a farmer's household, it was automatic that I developed the skill and also the interest. The strategy that my parents would employ is that though their farm is the main farm, but what they would do, they would give you, let's say, 24 tomato seedlings, and you'll plant those for yourself. So you'll start practicing how to care them, and then you'll harvest them, and then you'll get all of that money. So I started to see the benefit from very early. What my parents did again, they gave each of us a female goat. So we would start the reproduction from early, and that money would go towards our savings.
Imagine what life would be like for your children, rearing their own animals, growing their own produce, making their own money. Just think about it. If you're still not convinced, meet our 5-year-old friend O'Neill Grant, affectionately called Chris, from St. Elizabeth.
Me go take the goat, me feed the fowl, me feed the rabbit. Look at mommy, mama. Come, mama.
Yes, you have rabbit and you feed them on time. Like sometimes when you go in there, you clean out the coop and you catch water and you give rabbit. Otherwise, you feed them for them. See, you have chicken neck up, you feed them same way. Before Chris 3-year-old, Chris always go and come. Go and come. So after that, follow me go bush on time, watch how me tie goat them. Sometimes he say, Mama, I want the rope to tie. So sometimes he give me rope to tie, he go and get way. Sometimes I go down there and get way. So I say, all right, Chris, come show you if you tie goat. And he say, all right, Mama. So when Chris start tie goat them, then don't get way again. So until I get used to now, till he never remember say, if you go by mother, I just me want to steer it. If me a plan go and help me, anything me I do, he help me. Till after that now, me thought me a raise for chicken them same way. He get up on my time, and me open the coop, he help me feed them. He start getting wash out the pan, give them water same way. When he pluck, he catch them and give me them. We kill them. So everything me I do, Chris Gia helping on the night same way.
And Chris manages to do all this while still making time for his online classes.
When we give Chris a goat, Chris say, Mama, you send the goat on big, I want to sell him and buy a cow calf.
My goatee, my goatee.
He behave all right enough, so sometimes like what I get in trouble now, we dry him and hug him up and put in his head and I walk like I do so rub him down so I keep myself calm. Like when the sun hot at the time now, he say, Mama, give me one pan. And Chris take a pan, catch water pipe and go give every one of them water. And come back. And I even know when we reach I'll say 3, 4 o'clock, Chris say, Mama, come ready, we are going to figure out and get him in. Yes, he get used to it, he get used to it. So sometimes when we up here, in the bush long time, go give them water. And sometimes when we look out at what, he get them in already long time.
So you say Chris going to be a farmer?
Yes, I want to be a farmer.
I want to be a farmer, yes.
So if you don't have a farm or yard like Chris to rear animals or to do farming on a large scale, then utilize your backyard and your containers. Remember, reduce, reuse, and recycle. You can sow seedlings or plant a small vegetable garden and sell your excess to your neighbors. Here's a secret. If you plant okra, once those okra trees start bearing, you can reap every 3 days. So imagine selling at least 5 bags of okra at $100 per bag every 3 days for, let's say, a month. Imagine all that money that you can make. Do the math.
What do you need to know about masks for your children? You want to ensure that the mask fits your child snugly, as in it covers their nose, their mouth, and it fits neatly at the side of their face, no gaps. You want to get your children some washable, breathable mask made of fabric. You want to ensure that they carry an extra mask with them, because once that mask gets dirty or wet, they will need to change the mask. When they get home, you want to ensure that those masks are washed and ready for the next day or the other day to come. Also, remind them that they need to wash their hands when they're putting on the mask and when they're taking off the mask. And as much as possible, they should avoid putting their hands at the center of their mask. If it is that they have to make any adjustment to their mask during the day, it's important that they either wash their hands or use their hand sanitizer. Mask wearing is a new normal. Let's get it right.
And just like that, today's magazine has come to an end, but this is not where the journey stops. We have another show for you tomorrow on this same station. And if you want to watch this and any other editions of Jamaica Magazine, visit the JIS YouTube channel or website. Don't forget to visit our social media pages and leave a comment or like. On behalf of all of us here at the JIS, I am Adrian Atkinson. Do take care and stay safe.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.